Hi.
Can the Spider-Man come out to play?
All right, let's do this.
And so it begins.
Do you remember how the last Spider-Man story ended?
Yeah, Peter was outed as Spider-Man and everybody thinks he murdered Mysterio.
Wish me luck.
So he has to get MJ away from the crowd that didn't care about a superhero dropping some girl off until he was accused of murder. But now, they're very interested.
Are you Spider-Man's girlfriend?
Yeah, well, not anymore.
He swings her home, where instead of immediately warning May and Happy about the shit show outside, he wants to talk about their relationship.
Are you dating?
You're focusing on the wrong things.
And then Damage Control arrests everyone, and they're questioned by Agent Cleary, who has a horrible habit of interviewing minors without a parent or lawyer.
Who does that?
And when Peter tries to get them to talk to McFlurry, they tell him that he's in space, because it turns out that Talos and Soren were just pretending to be McFlurry and Hill, so now he's got no one to vouch for him. And since they know that he had control of Edith and the drones, they advise him to get a lawyer.
Did Stark Industries give him the best lawyer ever?
No. He hires this guy Matt Murdock, who has a reputation for taking cases that he believes in. And there's something off about this guy, but they ignore it because he gets all the charges dropped immediately, even though there's a crap ton of evidence against Peter.
I'm a really good lawyer.
But a lot of the public still think that Mysterio is a good dude, and that Peter murdered him out of jealousy, so he still has a problem. Even the people on his side act weird around him now. He and May even have to move in with Happy to stop the harassment, and he wishes that everything would go back to the way it was.
Look at you with the school spirit.
They try to be optimistic about the future, but all the colleges that they applied to reject them because they're afraid that they might be terrorists.
What? No.
MIT even rejects them, but accepts Flash, who wrote a book about being Spider-Man's best friend.
MIT is dumb.
So Peter gets the idea that he could time travel back to stop Mysterio from outing him, so he goes to the Sanctum Sanctorum, which is covered in snow, but for some reason, these masters of the mystic arts are getting rid of it with shovels. You'd think they'd have a spell for that.
You're not ready for that. Try me, Beyonce.
He's all, "Sir, will you go back in time and stop Mysterio so me and my friends can go to college?" But Doctor Strange is like, "I don't have the time stone anymore. But there is a spell I can do that can mindfuck the entire world. How about that?" And Peter's like, "Awesome." But Wong's like, "No, you can't erase the memories of billions of people to make one teenager's life easier."
But isn't Doctor Strange in charge?
Since he got snapped away for 5 years, Wong's now the Sorcerer Supreme.
He got it on a technicality.
And he is completely against using this spell to help Peter, but Doctor Strange is like, "Come on." And he's like, "Okay."
I'm convinced.
That's not a convincing argument. That's not an argument at all.
So Doctor Strange doesn't ask Peter any questions about what he wants, or go through what consequences might happen. He just jumps in and is like, "Well, nice knowing you, kid."
The warnings come after the spell.
So in the middle of the spell, Peter's like, "What the hell do you mean?" And Strange is like, "Well, everyone's gonna forget that you're Spider-Man, even me." Even though, in his example of using the spell before, he was able to remember doing the spell and why it was performed.
Do you remember the full moon party at Carmitage? No. Exactly.
So Peter is like, "There's still some people that I want to know, but being a stupid teenager, just starts spitting out names." So Doctor Strange has issues with the spell, and now has to contain it to stop it from breaking the multiverse.
Are there people in the sky? This shouldn't even be possible.
But instead of taking responsibility for not giving the warning before the spell, he blames the teenager for not understanding the power that wasn't explained to him.
If anything, it's kind of your fault.
You would think before mind-wiping information, you would ask if there's anyone who should still know the information, and he would have said,
Basically, everyone that knew that I was Spider-Man before should still know.
But then all of Mysterio's minions would still have the information and could just leak it again.
Not if he said to people who knew before he met Mysterio.
Well, it's debatable if MJ would know.
Because I was only like 67% sure.
But it would still be easier to tell that one person than to have a bunch of bad guys know your identity.
And then the whole world will figure out who I am, and then I'm done.
But anyway, Doctor Strange is like, "Sorry kid, since you screwed this up so bad, I'm not even gonna try it again, even if I know what you want this time. And I'm also sorry that you weren't able to get the college to reconsider." And Peter's like, what?
I could do that.
So he kicks Peter out. And since MIT scheduled a new admissions mixer on the same day everyone magically got their rejection or acceptance letters, he calls Flash to meet with an admin. But she's already left the mixer as she traveled from another state to attend. So he has to find her car on a bridge.
Oh, there she is.
But as he's talking to her, he gets a Peter tingle and warns the admin lady, then yells for everyone to get off the bridge. But he fails to notice that the woman in the car that he's currently on can't get out. So instead of just unlocking her door from the driver's side, he just poses while this dude with metal octopus arms shows up.
You have a metal arm? That is awesome.
And when he knows his full name, Peter's super confused.
I am the most famous person in the entire world.
Do I know you?
And then the dude starts throwing cars full of people at him.
Rude.
The college admin lady figures out how to get her door unlocked, but now it's too blocked for her to open, and she apparently doesn't realize that there are 3 other doors and a trunk door she could use, so she's stuck in the car.
You know, I'm something of a scientist myself.
The octopus dude picks him up and tries to kill him with a helicopter, but he hears the admin lady calling for help because she still hasn't figured out how to get out of the car, but is now falling off a bridge. So he uses his super strength to break out of the octogrip.
And the helicopter blows up.
Surprisingly, no. He rushes to save her while getting hit with a bunch of construction crap
You'd have to dodge.
and is able to stop her from falling. But before he can get her out, the octo dude grabs him again, but this time rips a hole in his iron spider suit, and the nanotech joins with his arms.
Oh no, they joined forces like the Power Rangers.
But just as he's ready to kill him, Peter repairs the hole in his suit with his mask nanobites, and the octo dude is really confused.
What do you mean you're not my Peter?
But then the iron spider suit Bluetooth app connects to the arms, and Peter gets complete control.
I'm in control, buddy, of this whole tentacle situation you got going on here.
So he saves the admin lady, who now wants Peter and his friends at MIT.
Don't let your personal feelings get in the way.
No, that would have been really inappropriate.
Then while he's questioning him, this metal alien-looking dude shows up on a flying skateboard and throws bombs. He's headed right for him, but right before he gets there, Doctor Strange teleports him to the Sanctum Dungeon.
The Undercroft?
Doctor Strange explains that his attempt to make people forget that Peter Parker is Spider-Man caused anyone who knows that Peter Parker is Spider-Man from any other universes to come to this one, and thinks that somehow this is Peter's fault, and not the fault of the person whose idea it was, who started the spell without thinking through it first.
I really should put the warnings before the spell.
He also found a lizard dude in the sewer after he got a Steven tingle or something. And now he wants Peter to help him catch any others that came through before he was able to contain the spell.
Scooby-Doo this shit.
Why would people from the multiverse come through?
I guess in trying to get people to forget that Peter was Spider-Man, the spell needed to identify who knew and pulled him in.
Trespassing in this city and on this planet.
But what I don't get is why they didn't know this was a possibility if they've used this type of spell before.
What if it was because before there was only the sacred timeline, but now that Sylvie freed the multiverse, they have to say which timeline?
The multiverse is a concept about which we know frighteningly little.
I mean, it could be. But Doctor Strange uses his nanosuit to make a wrist blaster thingy that he enchants to send any other multiversal visitors to the dungeon. Peter then has Ned and MJ come to help.
Do you know anything about interdimensional travel off the top of your head?
They find out that there's a monster out hiding in the woods, so Peter duct tapes his phone to his chest so his friends can FaceTime while he tries to catch it.
Guy in the chair.
Turns out there's some dude charging in the electrical grid, and when he tries to nab him, he goes right through him, and he captures a tree instead. But it does wake him up, and he tries to shock the crap out of Spider-Man.
I'm gonna fry you from the inside out.
He eventually gets hit and goes flying, but when the guy goes for a kill shot, the ground rises up to protect him.
Allow me to introduce myself. My name is Korg. I'm made of rocks. Don't need to be afraid unless you're made of scissors.
And the ground has a face and also knows his name. And to help him, the dirt dude surrounds the electric guy while Peter destroys the electrical grid to power him down. And even though that he'd been charging for long enough that people knew about him being in the middle of nowhere, as soon as the grid goes down, he's out of energy and is now just some naked guy in the middle of the woods.
I hate the woods.
Luckily, there's a power company outfit just lying around in case some employee decides to go to work naked, so now he's got something to wear in the dungeon. But he doesn't explain what's happening to the dirt guy, so he freaks out and tries to attack him, so he goes to the dungeon too. But Peter stays behind to fix the electrical grid, while Ned and MJ find out that some of these guys know each other. The electric guy is Max, the lizard guy is Dr. Connors, the dirt dude is this guy Flint, and the octopus guy is Dr. Otto Octavius. And he identifies the elf guy as this guy named Norman Osborn, who's apparently dead.
Oh my god, I'm dead!
He's still on the loose, but it doesn't seem that he wants to be the elf dude, but the elf dude wants to be him. So either he has multiple personalities, or he's possessed or some shit.
What are you, crazy? Yes!
He tries to find Spider-Man to help him, so he goes to the soup kitchen that May runs, and Spider-Man does fundraising for him. She calls Peter, and he comes to help, getting him to come willingly back to the Sanctum, where he starts talking to Octavius. And after their conversation, all the prisoners realize that they were sent there minutes before they died.
Oh shit, I was about to die.
There's no real way to sugarcoat that.
But then Doctor Strange comes in and puts Norman in a cell and is ready to cast a spell that sends him back.
He's gonna kill us all.
But Peter tells him to wait because he's got important information. But Doctor Strange doesn't give a crap, and once again, starts a spell without conferring with others to make sure that there are no unintended consequences.
Brainstorm ideas.
When he's just about to press the button to send him back, Peter steals the box, puts him in a cell, and runs away.
That might be one of the coolest things that's ever happened to me.
But Strange isn't giving up that easy, and blocks Peter's swings with portals, steals his blaster thingy, and then punches his astral form from his body. He tries to get the box back, but his Peter tingle makes it so he can't grab it.
You can't take it.
Peter then swims back into his body and tries to run away again, but Doctor Strange puts him in the mirror dimension, where Peter uses his math skills to beat him.
Your math is blowing my mind.
He steals his sling ring and then leaves him in the mirror dimension while he goes back to the dungeon to figure out how he might stop the bad guys from dying. He thinks he can cure him, but has no idea what's wrong with him, and what they have could be something that doesn't even exist in this universe.
You don't have those?
Don't think so.
They are repulsive.
But most of them agree that getting cured is better than dying, so they're in it.
I refuse.
He gives Ned the sling ring and MJ the box and tells him he can't have somebody he cares about around all these dangerous villains that might try to kill him at any time. So he gets Aunt Mae and takes all the bad guys to Happy's apartment.
I can't do this if I know that you're in danger.
We're very safe in here.
The occupants are in imminent mortal danger.
Why would he take them there?
Well, he's afraid that Doctor Strange will manage to escape, and also Happy stole some Stark tech that he keeps under a tarp in his apartment that Damage Control somehow didn't find when they were investigating for stealing that Stark tech.
Well, you're idiots. I suspect you probably missed the law.
So this machine's gonna analyze them and come up with a cure in no time. It's also run by an arc reactor, which Max is very interested in.
I like it.
So even though he has complete control over Octavius and he poses no threat, he cures him first, instead of the ones that are cooperating or the ones being openly hostile to him.
Are these your Legos?
He even takes the nanobites back, giving up control of his arms since Octavius is so thankful he's cured. He also has this plug thing that he attaches to Max that's gonna drain his electricity, and while he works on a third cure, he gets a Peter tingle that lets him know something's wrong. But because he won't say anything, he freaks everybody out, so when he webs Norman, everything goes to shit.
There's something strange going on around this building. Don't think I haven't noticed.
The elf dude's taken over Norman, so May gets freaked out, grabs the cure, and makes a run for it. Max steals the arc reactor to become more powerful and blasts Otto out of the window. The elf dude apparently also has super strength and starts fighting Peter. Then the lizard guy breaks out of the van and Flint just dusts away.
I should probably leave.
So Peter, who has stopped the Winter Soldier's metal arm, fought a Titan, and had a building fall on him, gets his ass kicked by a senior citizen.
With his loose skin and old balls, gross.
They crash through multiple stories and land in the lobby at the same time May gets downstairs.
Someone's stairs!
She sees Peter getting strangled and stabs Norman with a cure, but that doesn't do anything. He grabs Peter like he's gonna kill him, but he pulls a sneaky and makes Peter watch as his glider rams into Aunt May.
Thanks, mate. Hope to see you again.
And then he fucks off and she dies. But before she does, she tells him,
And with great power, there must also come great responsibility.
I like it. Slap it on a t-shirt.
Oh, come on. It's cool.
So now a SWAT team's shown up and is coming in. They even managed to shoot him.
How about you don't shoot the good guys, huh?
The Happy shows up and gets Peter to run away. Ned and MJ see the news coverage, and instead of just pressing the button and sending them all back like they said they would,
She'll do it.
Ned tries to be magic instead, and it works.
I'm magic now.
He tries to find Peter, but ends up finding two other dudes named Peter Parker that are also Spider-Man in other universes.
You hurt yourself.
But Peter would probably be a fairly common name, so you think they would have found some other randos too. Boom!
Great, it's just some random guy.
But no, just ones that are also Spider-Man. They've been trying to find him too, but apparently weren't smart enough to find the building that has a giant picture of him.
I saw Spider-Man in an ad for this place.
So they figure out where he might be.
Hey! Who the hell are these two?
And then agree to help him cure everyone before sending him back.
Well, I got Connors. I've already cured him once, so no big deal.
What?
Peter sends a video to a tabloid to lure the bad guys to the Statue of Liberty, and while they wait, the Peters bond over their differences instead of coming up with a game plan.
That came out of you.
Does it come out of anywhere else?
Do you lay eggs? Can you spit venom? Can you summon an army of spiders?
I generally don't go around
advertising it.
They do designate numbers based on how cool their villains are. Our Peter is Peter 1 since he fought an alien in space. Old Peter is Peter 2 because he fought an alien on Earth.
I want to fight an alien.
And the other one is
Peter 3
because he just sucks.
I'm lame.
Electro shows up and Peter 1 throws the box through the portal, but Ned can't seem to close it, which the other ones just shut on their own, but he keeps trying to close it, which may just be reopening it.
You don't know how to use that, do you?
Then Lizard shows up and attacks Peter 2, while Peter 3 is dodging lightning, but both Peters want Peter 1 to give them the cures at the same time. And while he's trying to get them, Flint shows up and wants the box to go home. So they're all losing their fights, but somehow are able to break free and regroup. They decide to all go after one target and go for Sandman first. He starts attacking Peter 2, who's the one that he became friends with in his universe, but won't listen to him and tries to kill him. 3 has the cure, but is being attacked by the lizard and can't get it to him.
You ain't even the shit no more.
But he escapes, webs up the lizard, and slingshots himself to the top of the statue to throw it to Peter 1, who then throws it to Peter 2. And now, they've successfully cured the other guy that they at one point had control over, instead of going after the ones that are actively trying to take over this universe.
Kinda like who I am here.
And instead of hurrying and curing Dr. Connors, who's webbed up at the moment, they go after Electro. But since he has the arc reactor, he's frying the crap out of him, giving Connors the chance to get free.
Let me tell you something. I was whooping Spider-Man's ass.
He sees that the portal is still open and goes to get the box from MJ and Ned, so they run back onto the Statue of Liberty. Peter 3 is being fried and drops Max's cure, where 2 grabs it, but before he can do anything, Doc Ock grabs them both, takes the cure, and fixes Max.
He'll get over it.
Peter 3 talks to him, and once again is reminded what a disappointment he is.
I just thought you was gonna be black.
Oh man, I'm sorry.
Wait, he didn't know who he was?
Apparently not, so I'm not sure how he came through with a spell that only affected people who knew his identity.
You should not be here.
But anyway, the lizard's chasing Ned and MJ, but Ned opens a portal to the ocean, knocking him back. MJ grabs the cure, throws it to Peter 1, who cures Dr. Connors, who's really sad that he's not a lizard anymore.
Oh, that's right. Let's go cry to your father, you little weasel.
Blizzard.
Ned and MJ are going to try to portal away again, but when it opens, Doctor Strange comes through.
I've been dangling over the Grand Canyon for 12 hours.
I know. Hey, that's gonna dissolve in 2 hours.
He's like, I know you've been doing fine without me, and the spell hasn't broken out, but we need to hit that button, even though you're almost done.
What's the rush?
But then Green Goblin shows up and steals the box. But now, the cured guys are helping, and Doc Ock grabs him, and Doctor Strange lassos the box back. But the Goblin pulled a sneaky and planted a pumpkin bomb, blowing up the spell and creating a split in between universes.
I mean, maybe it's not such a big deal.
The Statue of Liberty loses her Captain America shield, and MJ falls off the statue.
Gotta be careful where you fall.
Peter 1 goes to save her, but the Goblin hits him with his glider. But then Peter 3 swoops down to grab her, and is really emotional about it for some reason.
Wait, have you been crying?
Then Peter 1 uses one of the Goblin's bombs to blow up the glider, and then he straight up tries to murder him with it.
No, I don't want to kill anybody.
But Peter 2 saves the Goblin, so the Goblin stabs him in the back.
No good deed goes unpunished.
Number 3 throws Peter 1 the cure, but I'm not sure why they just didn't take it down to him while they were watching Peter 1 fight with him.
He could have used your help.
So after curing Norman, Peter 1 goes up to Doctor Strange to see if he can help. And Doctor Strange still doesn't seem to understand that all of this is his fault and tries to blame Peter again.
They're here because of you.
Even though it was your spell that got screwed up, meaning that all this is kind of your mess.
He says that he can't cast a spell again, but when Peter suggests a spell where everyone forgets him, he's like, that could work.
But if the spell pulled them in because they knew that Peter Parker was Spider-Man, then wouldn't this new spell pull in anybody that knows any Peter Parker?
Shut up. That's not how it works. It only got messed up because Peter changed it or some shit.
You might have a gift for the mystic arts, but you still have much to learn.
But if they won't come through because they forget who Peter Parker is, won't anybody in those universes forget about anybody named Peter Parker? Like, will some rando forget that they have a kid? What if it's a baby? Would they forget to feed it?
In the grand calculus of the multiverse, their sacrifice means infinitely more than their lives.
Good, moral compass.
Maybe, I don't know. Anyway, Doctor Strange refuses to do it at first because it would be sad. But then I guess realizes that being sad's better than having the universe break. So even though the fate of the world's at stake, he gives Peter a minute to say goodbye to the other Peters and then tell MJ and Ned that they're gonna forget him.
Yeah, so it'll be like a fresh start.
And then he pauses, preventing the end of the world to freak out that MJ has a tiny little cut on her face. They try to talk him out of saving the world, but he promises to meet them again and tell them everything. So Doctor Strange casts the spell, and everyone goes back to their worlds.
And then what? We perish? Do I die?
Sorry.
But Peter's just stopped kissing MJ, and instead of explaining everything to him right now, he fucks off.
Hey, thanks for bailing on me.
And only then does Doctor Strange spread the spell across the world.
Why would he need to leave?
I have no idea.
It doesn't make sense, does it?
No.
Even if he had to be out of sight for the spell to work, he could have just swung back down and came back up and said, "Hey, Doctor Strange, you just used the rings of Kafkal to make everyone forget me. Can you please help me explain to my friends? By the way, I'm Spider-Man. We fought aliens in space together." And he'd be like, "Okay, that explains why we're hanging out on the Statue of Liberty. I was kind of wondering about that." Hell, there might even be a spell to restore someone's memory, so he could just do that on a couple people. But no. Instead, we go a few weeks later where he goes to see MJ at work. Ned's there too, and they're talking about how awesome it is that they got into MIT.
Would that admin lady really have had time to get them reconsidered before she forgot about Peter?
Well, I mean, he did save her life. She probably did it right away.
Hey, you. I see you.
Come here!
But when Peter sees the tiny cut on MJ's face, he goes against his friend's wishes and doesn't tell him.
It doesn't sound responsible.
But he meets Happy at May's grave.
You remember what they stood for, and you wonder, is all that gone too?
And must be a Rise of Skywalker fan because he took Han's words to heart.
But what you stood for, what you fought for, that's not gone.
We also find out that people who knew Spider-Man still know that they knew Spider-Man, and he could just walk up to them in the spider suit, take off the mask, and at least have allies again. But no, he's gonna go alone. He gets an apartment, is getting his GED,
You want to be a high school dropout?
and makes a new suit. But I'm not sure when he learned to sew, because before when he had to make his own suit, he just dyed a hoodie.
I have so many questions. Will those Peters even have family members that remember them when they get back? Do they go back to when they were before, or has the same amount of time passed? Are they going to be on the Statue of Liberty in their world? Or is Max going to end up back in the electrical grid and now he doesn't have his powers to save them? Are all these guys still going to die? What about people remembering Spider-Man? There's a video that says who he is. What if somebody plays that video again? And Ned's going to have like 400 pictures of some random guy he doesn't even know. Or is all that stuff just going to disappear? Does he not exist on paper or just in people's minds? Is that why he has to get a GED? But then how would he get an apartment if he wouldn't even have an ID? Would he even be able to get a job? Ned and MJ should remember that they know Spider-Man. Does MJ remember that she was dating him? Does she think he ghosted her? Does Ned wonder why Spider-Man doesn't need his help anymore? Or do they remember that Spider-Man said goodbye to them? Is he going to remember that he's magic, or is he just going to be confused, being like, why are me and MJ standing here on a Statue of Liberty?
You just stop talking.
We tire of your questions!
I gotta go. I'll be back.
I'm going to bed.